most people are going to waste the latest launches of Claude Fable or OpenAI Sol in the last few days because they're just using it like ChatGPT just came out. They would type something and create this dashboard for me, do this thing for me, and they expect something special to happen. This is exactly what my dad did when he pumped out the second kid. He was expecting something special, but he was special. Not in the way he expected, but let's not get into that, right? Jokes aside, this is not exactly how you're supposed to use these top tier models. You're supposed to use them for what they are good at. The thing is, these latest launches, right? OpenAI's 5.6 Sol, Claude's Fable is extremely out of the box good in things like strategy, architecture, planning, but most people are just going to use it for writing emails. So in this video, I've spent the time comparing between both Claude's Fable and OpenAI Sol, and today I'm going to tell you exactly what is good and what, so you can choose when to use what models for whatever task that you're about to do, right? Let me firstly get into this, right? So one of the things that I love about Fable is that Fable is an AI model that is goal oriented. You just assign it a particular goal and it's going to do everything it can to get and attain to that goal, especially if you give it an intention. Hey, my intention with this goal is to do XYZ. It tries to do everything it can to solve the goal with that intention, and most importantly, it fixes bugs by itself and it finds solutions to problems you didn't even know existed. I'm going to give you a very good example, right? But everything I've tested so far, Sol by OpenAI, just can't do that. They're not there yet. So I'm going to give you an example, right? So I used Opus. Opus is by far the best, at least model before the launches, and I asked it a very simple prompt. I'm just going to show you the VS Code stuff I've done. This is the VS Code that I'm using to test exactly how things are performing, and it's a very simple prompt I made, like, hey, I have a lead inquiry. This is the lead inquiry. Can you please help me draft a quick response? So I used Opus, did the same thing. Opus gave a very big chat response, right? This is the chat response. I copied and pasted it in here. It's quite big, like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Thanks, Andrew, for the introduction. Glad he connected us, blah, blah, blah. We talk to stock stuff and tells exactly all the things that we can do. It's quite lengthy. We're asking them questions, which is not, you're not supposed to do those things, just it's more friction. You're supposed to do this in follow-up emails for sales. But Fable, on the other hand, this is what really impressed me, right? If you look on the other hand, Fable kept it super short, super crisp, told exactly, hey, this is the exact type of work that we do, gives that trust intent. But the most important stuff, ignore all those things, right? It pointed out that there is a limitation in your requirement. It showed that, hey, this thing that you're trying to do, there are some limitations depending on what you're trying to do. However, this is something that we've already done. We can do something similar. So none of the AI models have been using AI to draft emails for 3 years now. Never, ever showed up a limitation that it found by itself. Sol, on the other hand, I loved the fact that it kept it super crisp, right? It kept it super crisp. It just didn't cut it for me, super crisp, super concise, had the call to action, even though I didn't say the call to action needs to be there. Broke down exactly what you're trying to do, but it just looks a bit generated, trying to say the same things. Hey, this is such a good question. We can absolutely do this for you. You said these things, right? So it's just AI stuff. It didn't perform well. So my vote goes to Fable because it found problems I didn't know, brought it up to them, build the trust, had the call to action like everything else. So point goes to Fable. I asked OpenAI Sol and I asked Claude, hey, create an interactive pitch deck for me. Hey, create an interactive pitch deck for me based on everything that you know. I mean, AI knows on what I do so far. So I just say everything you know, create an interactive stuff based on the best strategies out there. Same prompt, same everything. The only difference is the model. So I used Opus, I used Fable, I used OpenAI Sol. Okay, now let's see the difference. All right, so this is Opus, right? I'm going to show you Fable first. I'm going to show you Fable before I show you Opus, right? So this is Fable, the best OpenAI's model. So I told it to create interactive websites. It started typing things by itself, and I can go to the next page. The number keeps increasing. Everything looks quite polished, right? Everything looks quite polished. Things are highlighted. The copy is super crisp. Icons are working correctly. Everything, there is not too much stuff. The thing I hate about AI is they add too much stuff into it, makes it unnecessary bloat. This doesn't have the bloat that I often see in AI generated graphics. So very interactive, super interactive. Keep things as it is. I can change variables. The number keeps changing accordingly, which is absolutely beautiful. Now let's look at Opus, right? Opus off the bat it just looks a bit less definition for me. For example, this looks more polished in my eyes. In my eyes, this looks more polished than this. But the thing is, it's not too significant to a point where it's too much of a problem. One thing I've noticed is, like, it has a bunch more, like, stuff. It has a bunch more data compared to the others. For example, like, whenever I see things like this, right, it just gives off the bat, like, hey, this is flipping Opus. Off the bat, I feel like it's a bit too much data, but again, it's super. It's not too significant. I choose this because everything is super crisp, big text where it's needed, small text. It follows the best practices of a graphic design, where this has everything this doesn't have that thing. So my vote goes to Fable, but again, it's not too big of a difference. Sol, on the other hand, did such a shitty ass job. Yeah, I went to Codex. I used the 5.6 Ultra, and I asked, like, hey, give me an interactive pitch deck. And the first thing it gave me was, it gave me a PowerPoint presentation, right? So I didn't ask it for a PowerPoint presentation, but I was like, what, fine, whatever. And the thing is, it's not too bad, yeah, but the only thing is, it's not interactive website. So it gave me templates where I can upload stuff. I like the fact that it thought about this section where I can click and go to those items. But the only thing is, design wise, it ain't it. Too much stuff, not enough empty spaces. Yeah, it clearly looks treated, right? I asked it, hey, make this website for me, make it an interactive website. So at first I was like, hey, this is not too bad. Like, they made it somewhat interactive, but the only thing is, there is so many bugs. Like, look at this. Like, the text is being overrun, the data looks off, I need to manually add a bunch of stuff, and everything just it's so clunky. So, like, Sol, this absolute trash shit show in terms of creating designs so far. And the next set of tests that I haven't done, but I've seen people do, is ask questions on API related tasks. Like, hey, can you give me a quick response on this coding related stuff, and the thing is, Claude absolutely, Claude came so ahead compared to all the other models. It was able to, I think Nate was one of the guys who tested this, and he said 24 or 26 times it was able to correctly answer, while Opus, because it has a lot of restrictions, it refused to answer. Like, hey, sorry, I can't give you answers to this particular API question, this particular technical question, I just can't give you answers. So in those cases, the AI Sol comes out much ahead. Alright guys, now before I move forward, right, one thing I need you guys to know is, clearly you can see that Fable is much better compared to OpenAI Sol in most of the tasks, except for things like asking questions for technical related stuff, and even developing, it's much better. But the thing you have to know is this, right? Is it really worth it? Because I'm going to give you a website that's going to be your best friend moving forward. This is an independent analysis of all the AI tools by researchers, and they publish their research in here for free for all of you guys to see. And I constantly check this place, and this shows the cost per task, right? Now the cost per task for Fable, it's like 3 times that of 5.6 Sol Max. But if you check the intelligence, right, it's literally 1 point behind GPT-5.6. So is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to spend 3 times more to get just 1 point ahead? Like, it's almost the same. I wouldn't do it. So if I were you, I would use Fable for the most complex strategy stuff. You want to have you want to create designs, you want to create the architecture, you want to do the planning. Use Fable for planning architecture and creating that design patterns. But the actual building, use 5.6. Let 5.6 or even any cheaper models, even Claude's Opus, I feel like design wise is a bit better. But for actual coding stuff and technical implementations and strategy implementations and document creations, use GPT 5.6, because for creation stuff, it's a really good worker. But for planning, no, you can get better output from Fable. So that's my opinion so far from my testing. I hope you guys found value in this video. If you want me to do more breakdowns on AI, talk more about AI stuff, please let me know. Anyways guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you on my next video. Talk to you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.